child marked by the gods, a birth under the omen of storms. The night Amara was born, lightning split the sky over the Igbo village of Amuna. Rain pounded the thatched roofs, and the wind howled through the trees like restless spirits. Elders gathered in hushed whispers outside the birthing hut, their faces drawn with unease. Inside, the midwife wiped sweat from Amara's mother's brow as the newborn let out a weak, wailing cry. The child was frail, barely clinging to life. Her father, Okonkwo, paced in agitation. "The gods are angry," an elder muttered. "This is a bad omen." Fear gripped Amara's parents. Desperate, they wrapped their newborn in a cloth and carried her through the storm to the shrine of Ani, the earth goddess. The chief priest, an old man with white chalk smeared across his face, took one look at the sickly infant and shook his head. "This child is not yours," he declared. "She belongs to the gods. If you wish to save her, you must offer her as a servant." Her mother clutched the child tighter, tears streaming down her face. "She is all we have. Then let her die," the priest said coldly. Okonkwo clenched his jaw. "If she lives, we will dedicate her to the gods forever." The vow was made. By morning, Amara was strong. The gods had accepted their offering. Chapter 2, A Caged Bird. From the moment she could walk, Amara knew she was different. Other children ran through the village, climbed trees, and learned the trades of their parents. She was forbidden from such things. She was not allowed to marry. She was not allowed to work. She was not allowed to leave Amuna. The villagers avoided her, whispering that she was the property of the gods. Some bowed in reverence when she passed. Others looked away in fear, but in her heart, she longed for something more. Traders from faraway places passed through Amuna, bringing news of Onitsha, the city of wonders. They spoke of tall buildings, endless markets, and streets filled with people chasing their dreams. "Is it hard to live there?" Amara once asked a merchant. He laughed. "Hard? Maybe, but it is free. You choose your own path." That night, Amara lay awake, staring at the palm-thatched roof of her hut. The gods had claimed her life before she could even live it. But what if she took it back? She made her decision. Chapter 3, The Great Escape. Long before dawn, Amara wrapped a small bundle of food in cloth and slipped into the shadows. She moved swiftly past the shrine, heart pounding, afraid the gods would strike her down. She walked for days, following the sound of distant vehicles, the scent of burning fuel. Her feet ached, her stomach growled, but she did not stop. Then at last, Onitsha. The city was an assault on her senses. Lights flickered from towering buildings. The air smelled of fried plantains and exhaust. People bustled past in colorful clothes, speaking in strange accents. Dizzy and exhausted, she collapsed near a market stall. That was when she met Mom Nkechi. The woman knelt beside her, wrapping a shawl around Amara's trembling shoulders. Her eyes, filled with warmth and concern, studied the girl. "You look like you've seen a ghost, my dear," she said, offering a steaming bowl of rice. Amara hesitated, then took it. Under Mama Nkechi's care, Amara found love, peace, and most importantly, Jesus Christ. For the first time in her life, she felt truly free. But the gods had not forgotten her. Chapter 4, The Wrath of the Gods. The nightmares began immediately. Dark shadows slithered through her dreams. Cold hands grabbed her ankles, dragging her into the abyss. In her sleep, she screamed, "Return to us," the voices whispered. By day, she weakened. Food had no taste. Her skin burned with unseen fever. No medicine helped. The covenant must be broken, the pastor declared. That night, the church gathered, their voices rising in prayer. Hands were laid upon Amara. The air in the room grew thick. Something unseen, something dark, resisted. "You cannot take her," a deep, otherworldly voice roared. A battle for her soul erupted. The walls shook. A violent wind rushed through the church. Candles flickered, then died. Amara convulsed, her eyes rolling back. Then one final, blood-curdling scream. Silence. Amara collapsed. She was dead. Chapter 5. The Battle for Amuna. News of Amara's death spread like wildfire. The gods have won, the villagers declared. Her lifeless body was returned to Amuna. The village gathered in the square, drums beating in grim celebration. The chief priest stood before the crowd, his voice thick with mockery. "Where's your Jesus now?" He sneered at Maman Kechi. The villagers laughed. "You brought your foreign god, and now he has taken your daughter. You will all die for your disrespect," the chief priest roared. Maman Kechi and the church members were seized, dragged to the shrine. "You will be buried with her." A grave was dug. Amara's body was placed inside. The Christians were thrown beside her. "Let your God save you," the chief priest spat. Dirt and leaves covered them. Night fell. In the suffocating darkness, Maman Kechi's voice rose in song. "Equim, you are the living God. Ease, no one like you." The others joined, voices trembling but strong. Then, a miracle. Fire erupted from the shrine. The sacred idols crumbled into dust. The villagers screamed, stumbling back in terror. And then, before their very eyes, Amara gasped for air. Her eyes flew open. Her body moved. She sat up, alive. "The gods are burning," the villagers cried. The chief priest fell to his knees, trembling. "It is the God of the Christians," he wailed. The entire village collapsed in surrender. "We believe," they cried. "The gods are dead. We give our lives to Jesus." By morning, every shrine was destroyed. The chief priest himself surrendered his staff, renouncing his position. Amara, now fully healed, stood before the crowd. "The gods tried to claim my life," she declared, "but they have no power over the living God." One by one, the villagers gave their lives to Christ. Maman Kechi wept with joy. Amara smiled. She had not only won her own battle, she had won the battle for an entire village. But something else happened that night. There was a girl who loved the gods while others were living. She stayed behind the ruins of